the fuck? There he is.
There you go. And
All right.
There you go, and there we go. Hey,
And
greetings and salutations, everyone. You have tuned into you're tuned into what show are we in?
This is Dr. Ruth's show. This is Dr. Ruth's show.
It's American Badass Bars, Brews, and Brawls.
I don't
Once
see my
again,
face. I don't see nothing over here. I see nothing but
well, of
waves.
course, you gotta get with the program.
All right,
here,
let's
man.
get into the program. All right,
Okay. I mean, if you want to do all that, we can do that
There
too.
we are.
Okay. And if you're good, I'll leave you on.
All right. I don't want to get banned. I don't want to have it. I don't want to be canceled.
Well, we already know about shadow banning for these folks.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very, very important show. This is our first female guest of the whole run.
Inaugural show. Absolutely.
It is
No
Dorothea
pressure.
Geist. She is a filmmaker, an actress. She does music on her own. She's a ASCAP recording artist. And a fellow non-woke.
No,
No.
not
Thank
asleep.
you.
Oh, not asleep. Okay, so is it woke or
he's-
non-woke?
No,
woke.
you're right.
Yeah.
Non-woke.
Yeah, because
Non-woke.
now they're saying woke is that you're on the snowflake side.
Oh.
Correct.
You're the granola. You're a granola snowflake.
Red pilled? Is that safe?
Red pill to say.
Okay.
Red pill. I take the blue just in case. If I were you there, buddy.
Well, in certain instances, it is.
After
important.
60, I think, or 50. What is it? 55. It's you got to stay alive, brother.
Absolutely.
Did you know it's International Women's Day?
That's right. It is.
Isn't that super crazy?
I didn't even know.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes,
Right?
it is.
Holy shnikes.
Yes, it is.
I must be a clairvoyant, or close to a clairvoyant.
True.
But it's good because we were going to go with another guest, and I was like, "No, fuck that. I can save him because we've got 6, 7 guys that came on the show already. It's like we need to get some females up in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's too much testosterone.
We need to break it up."
Yep.
Anyway, so everyone, this broadcast is brought to you by Scout and Cellar, organic wine, clean wine made clean, no sulfites, no added sugars, no Roundup.
Is it gluten free?
It's gluten free.
There you go.
It's all free of all that bad stuff. It's the natural sulfuric process. It is one of my companies. Right now, we've opened a Dove Hunt Rosé. It's from Healdsburg, Napa. It's our own line. You can go on www.scoutandcellar.com/Paniavino.
It's actually behind you, too. Just
It
in
is.
case you wanted to know.
www.scoutandcellar.com/Paniavino and figure it out, and I'll send you some wine if you want it.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
It's phenomenal stuff. It really is.
Tasty.
And our illustrious guest here is sipping every drop.
Yes.
we're gonna go with a
I'm
little
like,
red.
why is that wine bottle so far away from me?
We're gonna put it near you. Here.
There you go.
We're gonna get you a little of this. It's called a Viente
I'm gonna try the red now.
Malbec. This is some badass shit here. This is from Chile, the Concagua region. This is a 2019 Malbec. Let that sit for just a bit. It'll definitely get
Let
better.
it aerate.
All right, so I brought Dorothea in because we've been having some correspondence via Facebooks and all these other random spaces talking about government and where we're going as a whole, as a human species, as a collected consciousness as well.
Yes.
We're losing that in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And it's time to get back into the saddle. So the main thing we were talking about the other day was the cancel culture. And we're all afraid to get canceled. Even like major actors are getting canceled. This, people who are like influencers, but they're not getting. The people who are getting canceled are anyone who steps outside of the circle that is the hot box, right?
The party line.
The party
Yeah,
line.
the party line.
And the party line is almost invisible to a certain degree because how far do you step off? How far do you stay in? How far do you branch out and say, well, fuck it? Like, you know what? You guys can take your pills. I'll take my pills as I have been for many years. And we'll go along our day like we have been for the past how many years, right?
Right. Yeah, Gina Carrero, I think. Is
Carano.
Carano.
Gina
That's how
Carano.
you say her name. She was one of those that you're talking about that was canceled.
And I said something about it only because I'm not really a fan of anyone bringing in any kind of Nazi ideology into any kind of situation that doesn't really tend to belong there. I don't think it belongs anywhere because you can't compare anything that had to do with the Nazis to anything that we've ever lived with.
Yeah, avoid la Capitan.
Maybe Vietnam at one point was as close to as serious as a Nazi attack or fight or war. But other than that, I
Oh,
mean,
we haven't seen anything.
we haven't seen anything close to that kind of takeover.
Not yet.
Not yet. So that's what we're talking about. We are seeing it now in frontline form of taking away our rights. Mr. Potato Head is canceled. Right?
Dr.
Pepe Le
Zeus.
Pew.
Pepe Le Pew.
Dr. Zeus is, and who's next is Pepe Le Pew.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Zeus.
You've got to be out of your fucking mind to
It's just
kick
they've
Dr.
been-
Seuss out. That dude, yeah.
I have a conservative friend that said they've been trying to knock him out for a long time.
For what reason, though?
Because, he makes people think.
Right.
Well, yeah, through cartoons
Yep.
and through
Basically, he makes people
through
think.
intellectual cartoons,
Mm-hmm.
he was able to bring about some interesting topics.
Well, aren't all cartoons that are any good intellectual though?
Yes.
When you
Sure,
think
yeah.
about
And
it?
and,
Yeah.
and also we also know that the left doesn't understand. They have no humor and they don't know how to do a meme.
Oh, I was gonna. You took my line.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
No, absolutely. They're the worst at memes. You can recognize a meme instantly, whether it came from the left or somewhere else.
Yeah. They're all so nutty. It's like the thing is and that's what we are now basing things upon memes and what's canceled and what's hot and what's not, and it has nothing to do with any kind of logic at all. Like all logic has fucking flown out the
Tossed
door.
out the window.
Like
Yep.
we are in the age of what we were saying before. It was like just fucking. You were saying there was like some scatterbrained. You said something to me the other day, which was really funny. That people are so scatterbrained to the point they're so blinded by the point of beyond belief that they wouldn't even be able to recognize their own face in the mirror if they were to look. And I've been there before. I mean, I've been to a place where I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, man, who is that guy?
Is it when you were drunk?
Probably.
But you're not talking about those people. You're talking about people that experience this on a regular basis.
Yes.
And
The Walking Dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for it. I would suggest it's because they're literally brainwashed, and this is not something that doesn't have meaning. This is something that has a definition.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the videos from Yuri Bezmenov?
No, I've not.
Completely on point. He's a former KGB agent who describes the process of subversion, or what is also known as brainwashing, as rendering somebody completely unable to assimilate new information, new facts, new evidence that's presented to them. So when you're talking to a stranger or somebody, that could be in your friend zone, and they're unable to really hear you, what you're suggesting to them with all the evidence and the facts that you're presenting, they could literally be a victim of brainwashing. It's a real thing. It's not just some,
Conspiracy, trendy, yeah.
trendy term. It means something.
Well, weren't they saying before, like, it's almost like we're getting into like a Pavlov's experience where like certain words would trigger somebody into to block themselves off. So as soon as somebody hears a word or some sort of a phrase,
A trigger word.
Doom. They're already snapped over, and they're not even there. They're like
Right.
their head isn't. They're not listening to you because they've already snapped off.
I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole quickly into the whole concept of MK Ultra and the
Yes.
fact
Yeah,
that
let's do it.
exists.
Why not? Right? Well, I mean, shit.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the movie. Folks, you need to see it. 100 million people have watched it. Out of the Shadows.
Yes.
That's pretty good. That was,
Out of the Shadows.
right?
Out of Shadows is a documentary. You must go now to outoftheshadows.org to watch it. And basically, it's two stuntmen and a news reporter who's, aware, Liz. And they were in the industry 25, 30 years and started looking at radio, television, movies, and music.
Yep.
And how it was called Operation Mockingbird, which was done by the CIA in the 50s and forward. And every single major broadcaster, movie, etc., is trying to program us to a certain degree, to a certain direction.
There's 13 episodes.
No, it's a movie. It's a documentary. It's about 90 minutes long.
Okay, so that was
It's all by its lonesome.
I saw that movie, but there was another thing that you sent me, which was like 13 parts. The Cabal Fall.
Oh, the
the
Fall of the Cabal.
Fall of the Cabal.
That was done by a lady named Janet, and her last name starts with O. She was from, I think, the Netherlands.
Norwegian. She was Scandinavian.
Because quick
Go ahead.
side
Go for
piece,
it. Go for it.
that's where a lot of this originated. A lot of people don't understand that in Norway in particular, in the Scandinavian countries, that's where a lot of this stuff started.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there were 10 episodes, and one of them early on was talking about Bill Gates and such, was so hot that YouTube wouldn't even touch that one, and you had to watch it on BitChute. But it's been pulled
Like so many
completely
other
and
things.
entirely off YouTube. She's done. They threw her out, and she did one on the pandemic. Yes, pandemic. For 3 or 4 episodes on that in terms of
No,
this
wait,
just
she
doesn't add up.
produced that?
Yes, she
Oh,
did
that's
another one
awesome.
subsequent. She did one subsequent.
I've
Yeah.
seen that
In
one
fact,
as well.
I knew it was going to go, and I downloaded it and transferred it to an MP3 to audio only. But yeah, it was phenomenal information. It was laid out really well, and she absolutely hated Trump, and she was no fan, and then all of a sudden what got her, if you guys remember, was she watched the first caravan that was coming up from Honduras early on, and she goes, wait a minute, their feet aren't dirty, they're not tired, their clothes are clean, they have name tags. I mean, how the heck does that work?
Source.
You're gonna walk. You're gonna walk 30 miles in flip flops.
30 miles? How about like 400, 500, 600?
And
Yeah.
where has the logic gone for everyone that doesn't see like these obvious cues? They're so obvious.
Well, the new one, they have brand spanking new Biden T-shirts on. Where the heck did those pop up? It's like they're printed, they're pristine, they're crisp,
It's
they're
like they're
white,
at a concert.
they're clean.
It's
like
you're in front
okay,
of, front of the Hollywood Bowl and
Might
shit.
as
Yeah.
well be.
They stopped over a little roadside and they were selling them, and they bought them all.
2 for 20. 2 for 20. There you go. Get
That's
your
it.
Biden shirts.
Oh, and can we go back for a minute in history? And did you catch when Antifa.org directed to the Biden campaign?
Oh no, you go to Antifa.com.
don't know if it's still that way.
No, it is. It
Yeah.
actually Antifa.com.
So
If you
you
went
donate-
on the line, it would actually go right to I think it's BLM. Went to the Democrats, and Antifa went to Biden. Yes.
No, they,
Yeah.
at one point, Walt, they both were directed to Biden.
Yeah, and I checked not too long ago, and it was going to Biden still.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that
Well,
crazy?
you know what the thing is okay, so he kind of won, or he kind of lost.
He
but
kind of cheated?
he kind of cheated.
kind of cheated.
Yes.
Kinda.
We were talking before, like Scandinavia, that whole area.
Yeah.
Like Denmark and all, like they have Sweden, Denmark. They have a new brand of socialism that's working. It's almost, and I compared these two together. So I compared California, just California alone, because we're already here. We're already in a progressive state. We already know this.
Yeah.
We've already watched it kind of go its route. We're already paying a little over 50% taxes. If you really look at all the taxes you're spending, retail,
Gas tax, everything.
If you look at, and if you compile all your taxes, people, everyone, you'll realize that we are almost at 50, a little bit above 50%.
Crazy.
Yep.
And that's 50% of and then you get taxed again at the end of the year by the fucking Fed, which is separate. Your you gotta pay your California taxes,
state
and then you
versus
got
your
and then you gotta pay your federal. So then you're hit again for another 20 maybe. So we're already there, sweethearts. We're already there. So when you go up there, like Denmark, Sweden, I think it's not Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark. They worked a new sense of socialism, which actually works for them, and they're trying to.
It does.
Yeah.
I've been to Sweden, and it's basically from the womb to the tomb.
Yeah.
And if you make over a certain amount of money, I think it's like 70 or 80,000. Basically, it's 100% tax, which means there's really no incentive for you to make any more because the
Right.
government just takes
Law
it
of
all.
diminishing
And by
returns.
that, the government's going to take care of you anyway. So why bother?
But may I suggest something? Because I had this conversation with a friend of mine, actually, that the reason that might work, if it was ever to work anywhere, is in countries where they actually take care of the elderly.
Yeah.
They work more based on family units. You try something like that in the state of California, where
No way.
everybody's
Ain't
just
gonna happen.
very myopic. They're very individually focused on their careers, and it's all about themselves. This will never work as a human experiment in the United States of America.
I mean, the subservience and the may work. I mean, if the California at one point were to become under a full martial law or any kind of strict government law, people are just going to bow down. They're going to go with, especially when you have all these celebrities that are backing up all these fucking ideologies and this bullshit that's being pushed into our system. Of course, they're going to just bow. You're going to have a few people like ourselves that are going to stand up and maybe take a few bullets. I mean, I tell you this, guys, I got flak jackets, I got shotguns, I got fucking handguns, swords, I got projectiles.
Yeah, but the problem is, do you have ammo?
Well, no, I don't have any ammo. Fuck, guys. Well, hey.
Wait.
Come get my
It's
guns.
really
Wait,
difficult to
hold
get
on.
ammo these days.
It's got bacon wrapped around.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking earlier about the fact that it was in the medieval times when the Muslims were trying to take over, they literally laced all the bullets, the enemies of the Muslims, in bacon fat, which means that one bullet hits them. They are now no longer clean, which means the 72 virgins they're going for are gone because they are no longer a clean, non-polluted body. And they literally stopped fighting and gave up. Because they wanted those virgins.
Yeah, but think about this.
Absolutely.
This was after, we're talking, guys, listen, we're talking about after 7 Crusades.
Mm-hmm.
This is after the 7 Crusades where Saladin didn't give up the kingdom. So how many?
Wait. His name was Saladin? Like in the movie The Dictator?
Yeah.
Aladdin?
Yeah.
But minus the S?
Yeah. Saladin had
Come on, art imitates life.
60 year, I think it was like 60 years,
Yeah, it was a
60-year
long time.
rank,
Yep.
almost like Caesar, as much as a Caesar or someone like that. And he defended his kingdom for 7, I think it was more than 7. The first 3 or 4 were like multiple. The Danes, the Brits, the Picts, they all fucking came down. And the problem with the Crusades was they were all coming down to gather this land because it was the Holy Land. And it was talked about this in the Bible, that area, all that space is Holy Land. And it belonged to the people of the sun, or the people, however you want to call it. Not people of the sun. People of the sun are Mayans and, and Aztecs and whatnot. But for a European sense, that's the people of the sun, people of the earth, to inhabit and to inherit God's earth. So the Danes came down, the Brits came down, the Scots, the Picts, the Macedonians. Everyone's coming in droves,
in mass,
in masses to fucking get this guy, but they were fighting each other to get to the fucking peace. So they couldn't keep peace within their own fucking ideas. They're under the same idea. Why wouldn't they all band together to go against one person? But they're fighting each other on the way. So by the time they got down to fight this motherfucker, there was like, if they had 100,000 troops, now they got maybe 50 because they fought all the way through Hadrian's Wall, all that spots, getting all the way in, getting the boats. By the time they got the boats going to go over into Turkey and all that area, because you couldn't get through because it was all blocked off. They had to go down, through and out, and then come in through Turkey. And they had to go up and down, from like Wales and into that area and attack from the top. You couldn't attack from the east. You couldn't attack from the west because he had Picts.
Then they were hemmed in.
Hemmed in.
Yeah.
The coast. You couldn't even get into the coast.
Mm-hmm.
So okay,
Sorry guys, I went to
segue.
Too geographical to history there.
But this is great because I think it offers a great segue.
Yeah.
You're talking about war the way it used to be, which was boots on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And I think a really important concept for anyone tuning in that's not aware of this already is that paradigm has really shifted. The kind of war that we're experiencing here and now, this is not some futuristic concept I'm talking about, is that we are in the midst of irregular warfare. It's
Information warfare, for sure.
It's also psychological.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
It's
it is.
so many different things, which is why it all is encompassed by that term irregular warfare.
Yeah.
Because it's, from an economical or business perspective, a lot more efficient. You're not spending all the money that you would in a bloody physical warfare. And so I think that's really important for everyone to understand, because if you have a hard time landing on one side or the other or knowing what's really going on, I think that concept alone can really help you break through the disinformation to know that, there's an agenda, and this is a global kind of war that we're in. It's not civil, to be clear, at all. So even though, like, in the United States,
it's not revolutionary
of America,
either. It has to a degree, maybe. Yeah.
I would suggest if it were one versus the other, yes, it would be revolutionary versus civil, because that's what they want to lead you to believe, these global powers. They want you to believe that through BLM or all of these other cultural, back to the topic at hand, right?
Yeah.
Efforts of demoralization, that it's, the North against the South, like the civil wars we fought. But it's not.
It's not. No way.
The information that you're receiving that is disinformation, it's actually from these global powers that are anti-freedom, anti-liberty, not to be confused with liberalism, because those are two different ideologies entirely. But basically everything that's anti-American. And you've got countries that I don't want to call out individually, but let's just say countries that individually they oppose like human rights. They're not for human rights. They're not for freedom. They're not for these things that we appreciate as Americans. So if people can understand that, I think that will help greatly towards the cause of like uniting us as Americans instead of dividing us, which is what they want.
Well, yeah,
It's already happened.
They definitely don't want us.
Sure.
They want us divided because if we're
Sure,
united,
but we can also come
they're in
back
trouble.
together.
Yeah.
I would suggest because so much of it has to do with awareness, right?
Yeah. Well, there's awareness, but there's also like you have to have a conscious effort to walk within your third eye. My third eye is almost always open. My crown chakras are usually always open. My heart chakra is open a lot because I'm always open to hear what someone has to say, and I'm always want to help someone. Keep my heart open, my mind open, and my third eye open because you have to have these things going into these situations because people are so they're on the edge, man. They're walking on a fucking invisible tightrope, and on one side you got fucking tigers, and the other side you got lions. What are you gonna where you want to go? You want to get killed by the lions, or you want to get killed by the at least if I go into the lions, they might give me a fucking break. I know for a fact they will. Yeah. But that's where we're at. So no one wants to go left, no one wants to go right, and then they blame the left and they blame the right, and then the right blames the left, and then now you keep walking on a tightrope.
And division.
Yeah, and on one side you got rabbits, and on the other side you got coyotes. Where you want to go? You want to jump in with the rabbits and just be safe, or you want to jump in and fight with the coyotes?
Not to be confused with the coyotes that take people across the border.
Oh no! Oh, okay, yeah. Well, hey.
That was funny.
If you got money, honey, we got the time, right? That's all you need is a fucking 400 million pesos.
And not to be confused with the rabbits that have to do with adrenochrome either.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to go into this hole here, guys. Anyway, I don't mean to bring
I'm
this
not
up.
even going to bring
I'm
up
setting you guys
Starship.
up for fucking for like, what do you call it? Like a curveball comes in, bam.
Well, and also, and you're quite right. But the problem is that they give us fluoride and GMOs and stuff to block our third eye, to block and clog our pineal gland. And they don't want us awake. They don't want us smarter. They don't want us to be knowing what's going on. They just want to, go through life a programmed little sheeple.
Prozac, Ritalin. What's the
Anything to dumb us down.
Yeah. Prozac killed my uncle.
No.
Yeah, he took so much of it that he blew his fucking brains out. So they said he did, but there was so much red tape around it. We thought that his wife had done it because they were having fights over the kids, and he was already a manic depressive. So
well, those are tough to those bipolars are really difficult to not only diagnose but to fix.
They are.
I mean, it's highs and lows, and they're not a good little boy and girl, and they never consistently take their medication because they decide they don't want to take it anymore, and they go off the rails, and then the whole thing repeats all over again.
Well, no, the thing is that he only started taking it because of the situation. Like, he never took it when he was a kid. He was a military guy.
It takes a long time to diagnose.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he got in there, so they started giving him, and they gave him such a high dose. At such a later age, he's in his probably 40s or whatever.
Fried his brain.
And he fried him up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's start talking about what you were talking about before, because
part?
I'll go into suicide. I'll go into like some weird shit. So like.
Well, what about consciousness? Because you kind of touched on that.
The thing is like I'm not a big meditator. But I'm a strong when it comes to like stoicism, almost like a conscious nihilism, and into martial arts. So these are the things that keep me, fighting.
Right.
The sword fighting that I do, the weapons fighting, the jiu-jitsu, all these things.
Because you used to do boxing, right?
Dude, honey, I did everything. I was an amateur boxer. I did grappling fights. I did waivers. We were talking about waivers the other day. I did waivers, not here. I did waivers in Philly, where you sign your waiver, and you go in and you fight a guy.
And whatever is.
And what happens is if you don't wake up or you fucking go down, and then the ref's like, "You're out. You lose. The money goes to him. I lose. I only get so much money out of the purse." Yeah.
So I find this interesting because you've kind of translated that skill into this venue with podcasts and whatnot. And I was struggling with this as a vocal artist myself, a recording artist. What do I do with my voice? But I thought, wait, what are you talking about, Thea? Like you're doing things on air. You're still using your voice, just in a new venue. And I think, interestingly enough, what I thought might be my most important work of my life, being putting out music and writing songs and all of that, might not even be the most important thing I do, but rather this conscious effort raising awareness in this era, because it's such a fight. I mean, it's not to be overly dramatic, but it literally is a matter of life and death for a lot of
Well,
people.
no. Well, let me expand real fast. We're at war.
Exactly.
We are at war.
It's a different war too. You mentioned
Very
that.
different.
It's
Yes.
a different war. It's not with guns and it's not with missiles.
Right. So
It's
that's
not-
why people
yeah.
can't recognize it.
No. There's something going on that we're not in on the big meetings. We're not in. We're not in.
No.
We're not
For
in.
better or worse.
We're
I
not in,
mean,
and the thing is we're not in a big club either, because if you think about this, we're in Hollywood, or everyone from outside of California thinks Southern California is Hollywood. It's the thing. Everyone comes to the thing. They see the fucking stars. They do this. The Chinese theater. Chinese Grumman Theater. You feel me?
Grumman's
I
Chinese
do.
theater.
And how long is
there.
that? How long has that been there?
20s.
Since the
Over
fucking 20s.
100
So
years.
that is an
I
indication of
filmed there.
Yeah.
Institution.
that's an indication of how much Chinese is in our world. And it took two world wars, right? A massive war, a Cold War,
Yep.
and then a silent war to have the Chinese fucking infiltrate our system. It didn't take it. It didn't happen until Carter, really.
Well, no,
right?
well,
or
to be
Reagan,
honest,
Reagan, really. But I
No,
mean,
well, we didn't even have diplomatic relations with China until 1968.
yeah.
Just before Nixon became president, and Henry Kissinger went over to the Chinese and talked to
Oh.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
mentioned
before
Nixon.
then, nothing. It was-
Nothing.
yeah, so 1968 is when China joined the world. After that, they were just on their own.
And what did Putin say the other day? He
The
goes,
New World Order is over.
well, he said, well, yes, but he said it in the same lightness. He says, you know what? Everybody who wants to fucking start a fight has always come to Russia. He's like, we don't want anything to do with this shit right here. We fucking like what we're doing here.
Yeah, well, he just I thought he'd done it a long time ago, but he
Yeah.
just kicked out the Rothschild Bank, which of course
Yep.
is the Federal Reserve, and the United States has done the same, even though people don't know it yet. I mean, all you have to do is look at a $100 bill and realize that there's a blue line down the middle of it. And everybody, I talk to people all the time, it's like, what's that? Well, half of it says Federal Reserve note, and the other half says U.S. Treasury. Okay, what does that mean? It means half that $100 bill is debt from the Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
and the other half is gold and silver from the U.S. Treasury. So we are going to be going into a new quantum financial system, QFS, right? Where
Can I get an amen? Hallelujah, amen. Praise the Jesus. Praise the Jesus.
which means that we are not going to be printing money anymore. So, for example, all the
Freedom.
garbage that just got signed, and only 9% of the COVID bill actually went to us Americans, can't happen
don't get me
anymore.
started.
Well, they're talking about
Yeah,
going.
well, we're
I
not
mean, they're
gonna-
talking about.
Yeah. It's because it's going to be gold back, and there's accountability, and you can't print money and all that jazz.
Well, I went to a fucking couple places in Seattle. I don't know if you.
Oh, you're brave.
That is the most progressive, most retarded place I've ever been.
What
Bill
about Port?
Gates
What
is
about
there.
Portland?
Oh, it was horrible. Portland's pretty bad too,
Starbucks.
but Seattle, they wouldn't take my. I had fucking like mafia cash. I had like
That's why.
$100 bills. I had fucking. I couldn't. Yeah, they're like, no, we don't take cash. You have to do card because
They want to track you.
they want to track
Hello?
the whole time. I was like, my brother was like, I'll pay. I'm like, I'm not gonna give him. No one needs to know I'm up here right now.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah, but it's so silly. You want to take my cash? Cash used to be king.
Well, okay. So I don't want to minimize this because you brought it up.
Yeah.
I mean, silly, yes, is one perspective, and I agree with that. However, it's more than silly, in my opinion. It's just it's asinine.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that if you don't want to buy into the system, then what? You can't live, you can't survive. We should have freedom to pay with these different methodologies. Why do we only have to just pay one way?
Well,
That's because the new oil is data, your
yes.
data.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it
Metadata.
is not being disclosed to you with transparency what your data is being used for. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend to know the full extent of it, but I might as well assume that basically every transaction you make is stored in a database that every company that you do business with, from your job to your local stores to anything, it's everything you do could be looked up by somebody.
Well,
do you really want
they can
that
also
kind of
exploit you.
invasiveness?
They can exploit you from that, though. They can exploit
yes.
that as well.
Well, the Chinese has already done it. They have a social score. Right? And that's what they're talking about trying to do here. In addition to the fact that you can't do any commerce or jump on a plane unless you take the V shot. And so, therefore, along with your social score, are you a little boy and girl, and are you buying into the narrative, then you're okay and you can do whatever. If not, different story.
Right.
I mean, the thing is weren't they talking about some anal swabs? You can't even go into China without getting an anal swab, right?
Wait, are we talking about Klaus Schwab or anal swabs?
Well, we'll go to. They're both. What's the difference?
to perpetuate
Klaus Schwab, anal swab. They're both the same thing.
They were perpetuating the narrative in the
different
sense
side
that
of the fence. Like I said. Okay, on one side of the fence you got anal swab, and on the other side you got Klaus Schwab. Which one you would go to?
They might be the same side of the fence.
Yeah, I'd rather go with the anal swab on that one.
But the point is, before you had to swab, and they stick that swab way the heck up your nose,
right,
to right next to your brain, so they can put stuff there.
It's human experimentation. Let's just call it for what it is.
Absolutely.
And some of these foreign countries that are the first to be the victims, I will say, for this experimentation, let's say Japan, for instance, it really is a matter of just kind of saying to the Japanese, well, are you willing to do this or aren't you willing to do this? Are you willing to bow the knee or aren't you willing to bow the knee? And if you understand some of the communist propaganda and techniques, then it's them just seeing how far a culture will go to bend to their methods and their strategies. And if you'll take it up the rear, then we can go to the next level.
What's next?
We've got the permission.
Barcodes.
You've given us the permission to go to the next level. And so, I just would suggest, like, to Americans and other people that, are in European countries and elsewhere, if that test comes to your country, don't take the anal swab.
Yeah. Because even though it might feel good at first, there's a bigger dick coming, I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
I digress.
Yes.
Truer words have never been spoken, and you should drink to that for sure.
Cheers. Hear.
Yes, indeed.
But no, it's true, because if you understand communist propaganda, specifically coming from the CCP, then you understand that their whole objective is that if you submit to their propaganda, then you are as good as cow dung to them. And that's their whole objective.
The hierarchs, we call them the elites, the hierarchs, the globalists.
I don't. They're not
I don't
elite.
call them anything but scumbags. And that's an East Coast thing. Look it up. We say douchebag.
I like that.
Or we say scumbags, depending on which side of Jersey you're from or from New York. That's scumbag, douchebag are the good ones. But that's what they are. They look at us like you would look down at a risk board.
Right.
They don't even see. They don't see human evolution. Nothing. They just see how they're going to make more money, put more money into fucking organizations. They just feed themselves, and then it never ends. And that is worse than the devil. That's worse than being a Satanist.
Let me expand on that, and I agree with you. But the reality is, when you boil it all down, of how many people are actually running things, it's probably less than 100, 150.
Right.
And the best meme I've seen is they're playing on a risk board, right? And it's on the backs of all the sheeple. And so they're bent over, and it's on their backs. And the point is, all we have to do is stand up and be united.
Absolutely.
And they are done.
But listen to this. This is some crazy shit too, though. I started noticing a lot of fucking crazy shit in just California alone, like people eating sushi off of a naked body, like people hanging themselves from fucking like hooks into their skin, people drinking fucking real blood.
You saw pictures, or this was?
No, I was at parties, man.
Well, this is also spirit cooking.
What?
Dude, listen.
Wait, yeah, I think a lot of people are into that, but like your unique experience, I'm curious now.
No, like I've been to parties where I went to a party one time where the girl had a baby. And she was an affluent person. She was semi-famous. Now she's really famous. And the fucking cake was a baby. And you're cutting into the cake, and the baby, like it was a fucking, what do you call it, a velvet?
Red velvet.
Red velvet cake underneath. Mm-hmm. But I'll show you the photos of this motherfucker.
Okay, so
I have it, yeah.
You've seen the photos too, just to relate to this topic, of the full, like, adult human cakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They cut into it.
Yeah.
And the Stefani, Gwen Stefani, all these fucking people, like, what was the other chick? Fucking bubblegum chick. She's used to be. You know who she is. The dark hair chick. She's kind of hot, big tits.
You're not about to talk Kim Kardashian.
No, fuck her. She's a fucking piece of shit. I'm saying.
Well, she just got divorced, by the way.
Good for her. Hope she fucking enjoys being alone. She never will be because she always has fucking Kris Jenner. Those fucking, fucking.
And the rest of them, yes.
Fucking the shotguns. Bruce Jenner's.
Kanye moved to Wyoming.
Good for him, dude. Yeah, I would vote for that motherfucker over Biden. I would. But what was I saying?
Yeah.
I was trying to go.
You were at one of these parties, or you saw.
Anyway,
a baby cake.
She used to be Christian, and now she's like Miss Bubblegum, fucking sexy rock and roll. Dark
You're
hair.
not talking dark hair.
Dark hair
I'm thinking
chick.
Miley Cyrus, but she's
Katy
not dark
Perry?
hair.
Katy Perry. That's it.
Oh,
Man, thank you.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Dove Hunt, people. Skeleton Cellar. It'll make you forget your fucking sorrows and everything in your mind.
and everything in between.
Yes. So, yeah, and when I saw that, and I saw this, it was a small baby cake, and everyone's cutting up, yummy, yummy. And I'm like, I'm not fucking eating that cake.
Right?
No way was I eating it. And people were just like looking at me like, why wouldn't you eat the cake? I'm like,
okay, so
dude, I'm not eating that.
Because it's cultural appropriation, not to be confused with cancel culture.
Or peer
but
pressure.
The idea is that if it's culturally made acceptable, then what's the next step? Do we dare say
Real
the
babies.
word?
Real fucking
Do we
babies.
dare
Just
say
put them
the
up there.
word, the C word? Not to be confused with the 4-letter C word that everyone hates.
Yeah.
Cannibalism?
Put the babies on the spit.
Well, no.
They come out like a pig with an apple in their mouth.
The other one is, if we're going to say the A word, adrenochrome.
Well,
they
they're
get,
connected.
They get that first. They get that first fucking wall, and then they cook the fucker.
Yeah, but why did this ever become cool? Like, that's the thing. Let's just start there. Let's not even go to
It's
the extreme,
ritualism,
right? If
you look up Santeria, if you look up ritualism, every single. How do you think? Now this is the funniest thing, and I'm definitely going to go on a fucking limb here. How do you think Cortez was able to defeat the Aztecs? How was he able to defeat the Incas? And how was he able to defeat the Mayans?
He made him sick.
He made him sick.
Gave him viruses.
And he gave him viruses.
Which is to suggest weak.
And he also...
Well, they didn't have the antibodies.
He got the weak people first, right? Yeah. When he went against the powerful people, he sent spies to spy on them. What are they doing? What are they doing that I need to know or I can own this fucker? Well, they're sacrificing people by the dozen, sir. They're sacrificing babies and people. And who else? They're sacrificing well-bodied men. Why? For something. They don't know. They didn't know. Is it for the alien god? Is it for their own gods? Right. Is it just for a ritual? So he found out how to get these rituals together, and he practiced. He found out what the Santeria. He found out some sort of Santeria, how to like fucking hex, put these hexes here, put these hexes there, and they've pretty much swallowed themselves.
Right.
You've seen Apocalyptico, right?
Oh my God.
What a fucking movie, dude.
That movie, if you haven't seen it.
Have you seen Apocalyptico?
It is so apropos to now.
You gotta watch that motherfucker.
And if you watch it and you don't understand what I'm saying, you got some research to do yet.
That's what we're at here, though.
We're right
here. We are
here
the Ouroboros. Like the people are eating themselves. They're eating themselves so the fucking big fucking dragon can just come in and eat the big picture.
So
yeah,
I met Mel Gibson.
So have I.
Okay.
Many times, yeah.
Well, it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
I don't know what your experience was, but so I was at a restaurant in Malibu. And
of course, it was Malibu.
Of course, right? And
was it Moon Shadows?
Moon Shadows, yeah, the infamous Moon Shadows.
It wasn't. That place has kick-ass music. I just have to say.
It really does. I'll go back there for karaoke night.
Oh my gosh, I haven't been there forever. too long.
The
They
bar's
have their own CDs, in
Dude,
fact.
they're
I was
awesome,
like,
dude,
yes.
the bar's a little small, but okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how big the bar is. The bar behind is pretty big.
It was a Greek restaurant, and you probably know what it is, but I'm not going to say. So,
Yeah,
and there
I
were
won't
some
say
other
that.
celebrities that night, but it was so funny because my crowd at the time was just kind of like on their own little tangent, and I was kind of looking around, and I was like, "There's Mel Gibson just sitting at a table by himself. How is that
Wow.
possible?"
By him-
Pre-beard or
And of
post-beard?
No. I think he
Did
was
he have-
actually sober. Funny enough.
Did he have the beard or was he still?
and just to give a shout out to Mel, he was totally cool. He really was.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
But like,
He is.
so
I love that guy.
I'm
is,
like,
he is.
okay, my crowd or go chat with Mel Gibson.
Oh my goodness.
And of course, I did have
No
maybe
contest.
a glass of red wine, so that might have made a difference. Maybe it wouldn't have. I don't know. But so I just go over.
Doesn't really matter.
I just go over.
Just go over and
And
do
I'm
it.
like, hey, my dad's name is Mel. And that was what kind of started the conversation. I don't know. Sometimes you just have those boisterous moments. And he was really cool. At first, he was like a deer in headlights, like,
Yeah.
who is this girl? Is she going to be freaky? Or, like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Do I know you?
Yeah, like, what's she want? And I think he did crash his car tragically right after that. I was like, I could have taken that car off of your hands that night. But anyway, so, but no, he was really cool. And I was like asking about like, his movie projects and everything. So, but he
had an epiphany.
totally hit the nail on the head with that movie. When I look back,
Which
I
movie?
mean, Apocalypto.
Oh,
Apocalypto,
The
okay.
cinematography
Yeah. Oh,
for
so
one
insane.
was
So amazing.
out of this world. But like
Did he use Deakins for that one?
Deakins?
Yeah, Deakins. Roger Deakins.
I don't know.
I think he may have. I've worked with him on a couple of things. Roger Deakins is one of the best DPs that ever lived, I think.
So I will
sorry.
suggest
Okay.
that he was not like, foreshadowing like future times.
Yeah.
He was actually trying to depict the here and now. And for those of you that might be watching that, have been led to believe by mainstream media, Mel Gibson bad, I think that he is one of the fewer people in the industry that was trying to expose the realities of what was really going on behind the scenes in a way that was artistic and
Not-
could be maybe more easily digested.
Not only that, but he was the one, rumor has it, that he was the first person that said the currency of Hollywood is adrenochrome.
Oh, he did.
And
so
the blood
there
of
you go.
innocent children.
That's adrenochrome.
Yes. Well, no, it's not adrenochrome, dude. You have to get your facts right. Adrenochrome is the glands.
Right.
Blood is different, my friend. Adrenochrome is the glands that lift their actual live glands. All your hot glands. These glands, everything that you have glands in your body. If you cut those fuckers out, you could chew on those motherfuckers and you can get like the highest of highs.
Or highest high, yes.
Beyond the blood is different,
Right.
my friend. The thing is to get the glands, if you want those glands to be active, and you want those glands to be hot, it has to come off of a live body.
Right, and infused with adrenaline.
No. The adrenaline, it's like this. If you kill a rabbit, every time you kill a rabbit always feels fear because he is the highest in the food chain. The rabbit is the highest. So he fears everything. He fears the birds. He fears the dogs. He fears the fucking cats. He's always on a heightened awareness. It's almost like this: if you lead the sheep into the slaughter, and then as they're walking in, you fucking chop their head off real fast. They don't feel no fear. It's done. You get the pure gland of unfear. But the thing is if you want that fear to come in for the glands, for the adrenochrome, you want those kids to possibly either be like virgins, to not have any fear at all,
Right.
because it's the purest, and you
Innocent.
get more of like almost like a sativa high. Was it indica? Was indica is high and sativa's low? I forget. I always forget. And if you win them in a heightened awareness where they're tortured,
Well,
or-
there you go.
that's what's going to get you that speed high. You're going to get that like methamphetamine high. So depending on what you want, and this is how they sell it, and they're probably going to bomb my house after talking about this, but it's all right. Depending on how you sell it, depending on how you market it, you want hot dogs, you got pizza, whatever, how you want to do it. Pizza is female, hot dogs are male. We all know these little. Then there's little
Pedophile codes.
pedophile codes of what you're going to get. You're gonna go and you're gonna pray to Moloch. You can do that. You can go to fucking Bohemian Grove. You'll never be able to get in unless you are the top 10% of fucking
10%.
of government.
1%.
Well, it is. Well, yeah. I'm even gonna say it used to be. I think in the 70s it was like 10%, but because Alex Jones came in and fucking really fucking gave him a hard time. He infiltrated. Now it's the one. So now it's the Obamas, the Bidens, all these fucking idiots that are out there. And even Trump talked about it. Trump wouldn't even go to this fucking place.
Right.
You're telling me Trump, who is the biggest scumbag, asshole, orange demon person, would never even, he said, I would never step foot. He goes, I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. I plead the fifth. But that's the level of adrenochrome. And I want to make this understood with you because you think that blood and adrenaline are the same thing. No, they're not. How they get the adrenochrome and how they get the adrenaline glands is they cut them out. They have to castrate the person. They castrate them. The blood comes off into the thing. Then they do the old dog and whistle, pull that shit out, and then they pull it off. They also pull it out the needles as well. Certain glands can get pulled out, and they do an adrenal shot. The glands themselves are worth more money if you can get the glands. They don't do it with the babies. What they do is they get the baby's organs and they get the baby's blood, and then they use that in rituals as something that is unfucking believable. It's the almost, and if you look it up, people, look up how China has done it. the Saudis have been doing it for years. These fucking people have they don't give a fuck about you. They never will give a fuck about your children. They don't care. They want to give you vaccines and they want you to die so they can create a new fucking hybrid human. They want a new human that's going to be subservient, almost to the point of either an AI or a fucking clone.
Yep.
Dude, I'm on a fucking tear right now. I'm sorry. I want Dorothea to talk more, but I'm going to finish up this real fast.
I don't want to interrupt you because
Anyway.
you're on a great
roll
there.
If you guys watched, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That is the first indication. And talk to Terry Gilliam because I work with him on 12 Monkeys. Talk to him regarding this fucking situation. Right. Because when Hunter S. Thompson, before he died, spoke about this shit, and he spoke about it in fucking like I'm talking to you right now, and people thought he was nuts because he was a alcoholic. He drank too much. He was a fucking gonzo writer. He's doing acid before he goes to the fucking dog track.
So people aren't going to take him seriously.
Of course not. But at the same time, these are the things that open your chakras. You take acid, you take mushrooms, you take these things. Maybe you drink yourself into like delirium tremens, and now you're starting to see different shit that you never saw.
There's a great beer by the name.
Oh, I know. It's my favorite. But I don't want to. I don't want to go too off the camel right now. But I'm saying I'm going to break it down like this. He opened it up back in, and that movie was 2003. What was that? Yeah, it was fucking.
Yeah, it was a bit ago.
It's 20 years ago. And when you hear him talk about,
which just goes to prove how long this has been going on, and it's even way before that.
This goes back in the late 60s, early 70s. And
but see, people don't understand the bigger concept that movies imitate life.
Yes.
They think it's entertainment, which, okay, yes, at a superficial level it is, but it's actually real. Yeah. That's the crazy thing about it.
And again, we're going back to the movie Out of the Shadows.
Well, beyond that, dude, we're talking about how many times we got to watch the fucking White House get blown up. How many times we have to watch the World Trade Center get
predictive programming?
Yes, before it went down.
Yes.
Like she makes a point because when I talked to this guy who he was going to be like my consultant for a thing I was doing, and I decided not to go with him. But he was talking about how he knew a guy who had done most of all the research for all the 007 projects, and the guy, the originator, who before back in the 60s. He was a government operative, and he was now hired by the government to write these things and to make it, what do you call it, glamorous enough for people to watch. Yeah.
So, okay, this I think needs to be said so people understand something. Like, I mean, and I don't want to totally go off track here and talk about like the Matrix.
Yeah.
But the idea is that people think movies are just some form of entertainment and it's just there to, make them laugh or make them feel something or experience something or escape. But in reality, the movie industry is in bed with
The government.
federal
Yes,
agencies
yeah.
Yep.
and the government.
MK Ultra.
Exactly.
What is
So-
KO? I don't know. I haven't got into that, but
well-
we'll get into that in a
Well,
second. Yeah, but
it's a government program. we could
MK
say.
Ultra was done during the Nazis. It's mind control
Right.
okay,
in
yeah.
German.
I don't know the
And
extension
so
of this.
on that note,
Yeah.
one of the most effective means of mind control is through entertainment.
Yes.
Through movies, through
Propaganda.
programming, through
Television shows.
series, etc. Now, I'm not saying there aren't plenty of things out there that are pure entertainment and they're great and they could serve great purposes, but people's understanding of this and understanding, like, to escape the system, to escape the matrix, they really have to come to this understanding, this awareness that, you know, it's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It really is not.
No.
You have to be able to see beyond, and you have to think that maybe, you know, what you're saying, what I'm saying, actually has some truth behind it. And as quick as people are to consider the term of, like, even conspiracy theorists or conspiracies, I mean, historically, most conspiracies have been proven true.
Yes,
For one.
absolutely.
And what is conspiracy? It's a conspiring against humanity. And why does that exist? Because if you look back in history, there's so much evidence to consider that humans have been conspired against, that they have had mass genocide.
All over the fucking world, man. The
Right.
the Irish, the Scottish. I mean, the English still own 7 counties.
And
in Ireland.
everyone makes Hitler
Yeah.
out to be, not that he isn't
He's
significant.
no saint.
In history,
Yeah.
right? But they make him out to be like the model for human genocide. But it almost
Genghis
diminishes
Khan?
Mao,
Stalin.
Stalin. But who knows how much genocide was actually committed
Yeah.
in those regimes. And it's not necessarily fair to compare numbers because no loss of human life is okay. But 5 million versus triple-digit millions of genocide. And so, like, in this era that we're living in right now, in this whole, like, virus climate and everything, people want to think it's just about a virus, but it's like, okay, you don't understand some fundamentals about human history.
Yeah.
Where, I mean,
Because
look
it's
at-
not getting taught. They're
Exactly.
taking it
And
away from
the
the
truth
schools.
is being censored.
Yes, of course. And you've got these teachers saying, it's so ludicrous what they're teaching in schools now. They're getting rid of all of
I-
our fucking
I have a-
history.
Because
I have-
it's not education,
No.
it's
Yeah.
indoctrination.
Exactly. I have a friend of
Indoctrination.
mine who
Oh.
was teaching junior high in LA County somewhere, and they retired because they got tired of not instructing, they were indoctrinating. And folks, you want to go back and look up something, you can look up the Georgia Guidestones.
Oh, God.
Okay,
What is
they're
that?
they're very
you
tall,
know.
like 10 tall
No,
granite plaques, if you will, in different languages. And they've got 10, I think it's 10, 15 things on them, and it's called the Georgia Guidestones.
You're like, where did those come from? Kind of like those monoliths that just
Yeah.
appeared out of nowhere.
Right.
Where'd they come
And they
from?
talk about genocide. They talk about reducing the population to 500 million in the world and a bunch of other things. So it was a prelude of
Okay.
what their goal and their agenda is.
So let's not gloss over that point. How many people, let's Google this if we need to.
Yeah, we have. Well,
How many people are in the
Tony,
world
can
right
we
now?
Google this right
Well, there's close to about, say, for the sake of this discussion, 7.5 billion.
Okay, 7. Let's just be conservative and let's say 7.
7
billion. So to reduce the population
500 million.
to 500 million,
It's a big
that
number.
means 6.5
5
billion people.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Forget
Who
about
makes
it.
that decision?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you
yeah.
watching? Are you willing to be that person? Are you willing to be that experiment? I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, what's interesting, and we're going to have to go there, to be honest, is and we're going to bring it down a little bit. There was called Event 201 at the Johns Hopkins University, sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in August. It was August or October of 2019. And the goal was that there was some pandemic that was going to come and wipe out 65 million people from this pandemic. And soon thereafter, obviously, we got the C virus, and they didn't meet their goal.
That's
Well,
China.
no, like you were saying
virus.
before, like Hillary was supposed to take the office
After Obama.
Yeah,
2016.
to take it into the next level.
Right.
It
Well,
was
what
all
was it?
going
It
to
was
go there.
well. It was a 16-year plan.
Yep.
Yes.
To basically wipe out the U.S. 8 under Obama and 8 under Hillary.
Correct.
And now what Basement Bum is doing.
Well, no,
is
he's just. I mean, we don't even know what's going on with that motherfucker.
They're trying to make up for lost time and escalate things because they got to get back on track.
Well, he's erasing all the good things that Trump did.
Yes, but he's trying to get back on track of what their agenda was
Of where they were
before.
going before. But like I had this theory that fucking Trump might say, "Fuck it, I'm going to start working with Putin. I'm going to go start working with the Russian government, and then we're going to attack fucking U.S. and I'm going to take back the fucking country." But maybe that's not right.
Wait, how would attacking U.S. help?
Well, it's like this. You know what?
You mean rogue U.S.,
Well, no,
like
here's
shadow government
well,
U.S.?
Yes. You know, the thing is you got to play poker in life. If I got 3 2s and
Apparently, I do this. I was told this yesterday.
well, I'm a fairly good poker player, and I play poker in life too. Like I have lots of bluffs, but I have lots of fucking shows too, and I will fold if I have to. So, I will not call. I only raise or re-raise, or I fold. Those are my monikers. Those are the 3.
You mean you don't know when to hold them or when to fold them?
Well, no, I do know when to hold them. That's why I don't call, because I can call, and then what happens on the next hand or the next card? Sometimes if you do call, now you're forced to either raise, re-raise, call, or fold. Those are your only 4 options.
Yep.
And when you get to that level, when it gets that deep into the hand, the stakes are higher, Dorothea.
Oh,
In the beginning of the game, the stakes are kind of lower. You know, before you get in, I'll take an anal swab. Sure. Yeah. Then your 3 cards come up, and you're still sitting with a swab in your ass, and you don't have cards. What's next? Well, here comes the turn card. What are you going to do now? You're gonna call, you're gonna fold, you're gonna raise, or you're gonna re-raise. So if I'm sitting there with a swab in my ass, I'm raising, because I'm not folding. I want them to fucking come get me, for real. Come put the things in there. Get in there with the fucking, get in there
I
with the
wouldn't even
Frankenstein.
let the swab get there,
No,
personally.
I wouldn't either, but the thing is anybody who's going to China, that's part of they have to get the swab now.
But China is here. That's
well,
the
of
thing.
course.
That's an important
That's
point
the
for
worst
people
part,
to
yeah.
realize. So, a lot of people don't understand that. And this is not an ethnocentric thing. It's not like I'm like this American loving, like I don't have,
It's
love
war.
for other countries thing. No, you have to understand the agenda at hand. So China has been positioned by the UN to be the next leading world power.
Absolutely.
Now, okay, why do we care? Well, because if they don't have more of a freedom-loving agenda, and instead they have more of a, let's create a family situation where you can only have one child, and if you have more than one, that child gets genocided or, sold to the human trafficking system. And, if you don't follow our religion or ideology, then you get put into a slave labor camp, and I could go on. And see, this is the truth that's being suppressed, by the CCP in China.
Communist China Party.
So that people
Chinese Party.
worldwide don't understand what's really going on there.
They have to understand. It's been going on for fucking the longest of times.
But Americans, why do they care? They only
Well,
care
yeah.
because it affects them.
The
Yeah,
Chinese,
that is true, yeah.
And I agree with you. The
Yeah,
Chinese
totally.
is here. One, there were tens of thousands of them on the Canadian-U.S. border, waiting
Yes.
just to come in. And I heard recently from one of my sources, they literally had made it, and they were actually underneath Washington, D.C. in the tunnels, and they had to get
I
rid
had
of
heard
them.
that as
There was
well.
a whole boatload of them. that
Wow,
are
I
now
never
gone.
heard about that shit.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
there is footage,
China
too.
wants to get their butt here. In fact, when Trump was president and they were having all these uprisings, China goes, hey, we could loan you 250,000 soldiers to help you out. Just give us the word and we'll just invade you with
Well,
250,000
and there is
soldiers.
footage, too, apparently, of smoke coming from D.C. DC. How do you explain
from
that?
underground? Well, yes, absolutely.
At the Capitol?
There are deep
Yeah.
underground military bases underneath. In fact, I've seen video of children.
Coming from
we
the
go.
front.
Well, this is what we talked about before
Yeah,
about
of
these kids coming through
children
the
coming
and they
out
bomb the
the
fucking things.
front door of the White House,
Yeah.
holding blankets and stuff. And they went in, of course, blacked out buses at 3 a.m. or whatever it was.
But no, you were
So
saying before
that's one of the reasons why DC's closed.
they were-
is just it's
they were
just
coming
so
through
corrupt.
tunnels, and there's
Yes.
tunnels all through these areas,
The United States and the world.
and they've been bombed, or they've been bombed,
Yes.
or
They're-
defunct,
they're-
or they're like
yes.
no longer
They're
in order.
called DUMBs, DUMBSs for
Deep-
deep underground military bases. Around the world, there's over 1,200 of them, and depending on who you ask, there's either 270 to 300 of them here in the United
Well,
States.
that's where your trafficking comes from.
Yes.
It's going into
Yes.
Canada. It's
Yes.
going into fucking
Correct.
Mexico. I mean, come on,
And
guys.
a majority
Like,
of them
yeah.
now, especially here, the United States are under white hat control now, and about 40 or 50% in Canada and Mexico and beyond. And that's a lot of what Trump has done as a war underground for
So
several
he killed the
years.
bases and built the wall. So the wall that at first they were like,
That's
nah,
for above ground.
above ground, but
Yes.
he was trying to infiltrate and say, well, the Dems and the far left were like, well, no, what the fuck? We need to give you money for a wall for? We've got fucking tunnels.
No, they're like,
Yeah.
don't stop our
Yeah.
trafficking
Yeah.
operations.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
No, we don't want.
And
Don't
if
you want to make
and-
more money, Trump?
And folks, if you want to
Exactly.
if you want
He's
to
like, no, I got enough money, motherfucker.
if you want to learn more about these deep underground military bases, there's a guy by the name of Gene Decode. He's a Christian, and he's done just absolutely astronomical amount of research for years. Just look up, and it's still some on YouTube. Just look up Gene Decode, and you can learn
Yeah,
more
I'm
about
familiar.
it. Yeah.
And also just to like bring this to like the forefront for people who know nothing about this or very little, the idea is that there are technologies that have been in existence for a very long time, boring technologies where they have these.
Yes.
I don't even know what the
Th-
diameter.
They're
or
nuclear.
the-
They're nuclear powered, and they can
Right.
actually bore 7 miles an hour
And Elon Musk.
underground. And Elon Musk, and some say Elon Musk was working for the deep state, and he may have turned a little bit. The jury's still out in that regard.
Yes, I would agree with him.
Yeah.
And so he's one of other people
Yeah.
who own these technologies, and they bore these holes, these tunnels, and they've been in existence at least since the 1970s, as I understand
Well,
it. So
some-
we're talking
Well, he built a train. He
5
built a train to
generations
go
at
underground.
least.
Yeah.
So understand.
Well, the
there
Nazis
is
perfected a lot
literally-
of it.
Yes, there's literally a whole underground civilization, as scary as that might sound to you.
Yes.
Underneath
there
our
is.
fear.
Let's
feet,
go.
Feet, not fear.
Yes.
Underneath
I
our
won't go
feet.
down.
And you can
I'd
go
fucking go there in a second,
You can
dude.
go from coast to coast
Yes.
in a train that's on magnetic rails in a vacuum tube. From coast to coast, it takes anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours. Done.
And so if you understand that this is a reality, this is not some like far-fetched, unprovable theory or something, then you can also understand how the concept of human trafficking might exist.
How
Yes.
Because
Yep,
people can be
absolutely.
pulled into this abyss, essentially. If you were there, how would you ever get back out?
And
How
never-
would you
Oh,
know
no.
how to get out?
And
Oh, wow.
never see
Like,
the
goodbye.
light of day.
Oh, yeah.
Never see the light of day.
Yeah.
Never.
Have you seen that movie I Care a Lot?
I have not.
Dude.
And there's a new one coming
gotta
out
see that
I
one.
want to see that has had some pre-screens.
Yes, with 107.
Operation Freedom?
Something like that. 107
I
has
think
done
it's
it,
called.
and somebody
Operation
else.
Freedom.
Yeah,
I wanna see
it's
that.
coming. It's coming out probably by June.
Okay.
It's not out yet?
It got funding. No,
Okay.
it got funding for distribution.
Okay, so
And Jim Caviezel, one
Yes,
of
Jim
my
Caviezel's
all-time
involved.
fucking love that guy.
favorites.
Caviezel's involved.
He's
Yeah.
amazing.
he
He's
was
involved in the
Jesus.
project.
And
The passion.
and who did that one?
No. Okay,
Mel
but-
Gibson, baby.
Yeah, he did, yeah. It all comes back full circle.
It all goes back to
forget
Mel.
7
Fucking
degrees
love
of
that
Kevin
guy.
Bacon,
Yeah, that
but no offense
motherfucker.
to Kevin. But
You know why they fucking persecuted him? And I feel bad
because he wouldn't follow the agenda.
Well, no, because he what CNN did to him was fucking really wrong. They used his Christian semi-fundamentalism that he has because his father was Christian or Catholic.
He's a good Catholic.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I thought he was Catholic,
He's
but
good.
he was Catholic, and so yeah. I wouldn't
Mel
say
Gibson.
Mel is a full Catholic. I think he's more leaning more towards a Christian.
Progressive Catholic.
Progressive. Okay, we'll call them progressive Catholics.
that's scary. That word, though. I don't know.
That's the worst fucking line, dude. Just let me say he's
never
a kind of
mind.
a. Let me just say he's kind of a Christian.
okay.
Wall. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to get killed 3 times. I mean, I can only take 2 bombs to the head.
Just write Orion, okay? Don't
Anyway, so yeah, that's why they got him, because he had this already in his past. So CNN,
Communist News Network.
all these news, all these things,
etc.
yeah, they came in and they did all this research on his past, and then they fucking
Okay, but
they
okay.
they did him dick. They did him
So-
dick because of
and-
a few
and-
things he said and didn't.
And I have to insert this because this is what they do to anyone who doesn't follow
Yes.
the party line.
Yeah.
This is a tactic. This is a strategy. They will assassinate
Yes.
your character.
Coming to a theater near you, people.
Character
They will
assassination.
assassinate
Yes.
your character,
Character
and they
assassination.
will create the most,
Asinine bullshit.
Yes,
to
exactly.
fuck you up.
and it will
it's
be
true.
believable. It will be sold
Yep.
and packaged to the public in a way that will be so
Hook, line, and
believable.
sinker.
Exactly.
I say, come get it. I'm not afraid
Well-
of my
And-
past
and
at
on
all.
that note,
I don't
have
give a
you-
fuck at
Hacksaw
all.
Ridge is what saved
You
him.
can do
whatever you
Brought
want.
him out.
What's with
The
that?
movie Hacksaw Ridge, when Mel Gibson did it, was the one that made him
haven't
back
heard.
in the good graces. Oh, it's a great movie.
I haven't heard of
What was it
Hacksaw
called?
Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, Hacksaw Ridge was
I
great.
haven't seen it.
Yes.
Dude, that was a great movie,
Yes.
dude. Remember where they're going?
It was about a medic.
Remember
It
he's
was
going
about-
when they're going on the beaches and shit.
Okay, I
Yes,
have
on the
to
beaches.
watch
That was
this
so
It was a
sick.
medic who actually literally saved over
That was his last film.
100 soldiers, Japanese and American,
And didn't carry a gun.
and
nothing.
never carried a gun.
Okay, I have to watch it.
Hacksaw
Dude.
Ridge. It was Mel Gibson's
It
project.
is one of his last
It was-
ones.
Yeah, it was
Okay, I haven't
brilliant.
seen
it.
It was a great movie.
That guy,
Got some awards.
that
and
dude
stuff.
is the fucking messiah of Hollywood. So fuck you, people.
Okay, wait,
You can
wait.
cancel him if you want.
Wait, so I gotta go back
tried.
for a second because we were talking about Jim Caviezel too, and that movie. Okay, one of my, I have to say, I think it is really my all-time favorite movie, The Count of Monte Cristo.
That was great.
with Jim Caviezel specifically.
That was awesome.
Because there is an
the
older
new
version.
one. Yeah, the newer one was good.
I mean, if you haven't seen that movie,
The
it's
older one was
so
too campy.
amazing.
The other one was kind of campy. Remember
Which one, the
one,
older one?
the one in the 80s and shit? When they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, there's three versions. There's one that was made in the 60s that had, what was his name?
Zorro.
What the fuck was that guy's name?
I'm picturing the Z with the...
Yeah, the guy he was like, oh shit, it was like Laurence Olivier was in there, a bunch of guys, a bunch of British
He's
guys.
great. Man,
Yeah.
we've got...
But they've done fucking 4 or 5 different, renditions of that. But when Caviezel came in, I love that guy, dude. He was, he's awesome.
Yeah, so I can only imagine. I think it's called Operation Freedom when that
Yeah,
gets
well,
publicly released.
It's basically addressing
Human
in a
trafficking,
good
right?
way. It's human trafficking
Yeah.
and paraphilia. Yeah, and I've heard that one of the reasons why the credits go so long at the end is for people can actually compose themselves before they do the theater.
Really?
Yeah, it's a tough film. You go in expecting one thing, and all of a sudden you're just
Well,
slammed.
yeah,
and it's going to be out by June. They've already got the funding for distribution.
Oh man.
I know they've already done some pre-releases
Yeah,
because
there
I've
were-
heard some people
Yeah,
doing
there was a
commentary
whole
on it.
107 did like 5 showings a couple weeks ago in Vegas, and the response he
Yeah.
set this thing up in like 4 or 5 days, and a gobble of people showed, and it was the
Yeah.
reception was just amazing.
Well, because a lot of people are becoming aware,
Yes.
if they're not already aware, about human trafficking.
Yes.
I mean, I still have conversations one-on-one to this day with people that I try to explain to them, this is our modern day pandemic.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Well,
not what
absolutely it
people
is.
think.
No.
It is not what
I mean-
people think or what they're led to deliberately believe. In fact, not to say that there isn't some real type of illness, sickness of some sort going on right now. It's that it's a cover in that regard for the bigger systemic illness that's been going on for so long, which is that of human trafficking.
Yes,
Because
at least
if you look at the numbers,
400,000 children conservatively in the United States alone, 2 million a year worldwide. is-
800,000 in the U.S.
Yeah, I know. That's conservatively, it's 400,000. It might be as high as 800. I know it's probably closer to that. For those of you to remember, do you remember looking for the missing children on the milk cartons back
Oh,
in
I
the
do.
day?
I remember.
Certainly.
I was
you
on
do.
that one. I was on one of those. I
You
finally
were-
found myself though.
And
Explains
suddenly,
explains
suddenly this
everything.
turns into therapy session.
Explains everything. What do you think all
I was
those
led into
missing
some
children
underground
went?
tunnels and shit.
Yeah, it's way bigger than people even can conceive.
Well, and also, it's kind of metamorphosized too, where they have toys now. I've done some exposés on, some of my social media accounts where you dip these little like kids' toys in the water, like you submerge them. It's part of the whole, culture of some of these newer toys they have come out. And these little kids, they're meant to be like little kid figurines, and they turn into like stripper suits, and they're all like naked and stuff.
Yeah, like the Bratz. The Bratz do that now. Yeah, the Bratz are horrible.
I'm not going to call out specific companies because I don't know that the Bratz is one.
Well, Bratz. Listen,
you might be right.
Listen, Bratz came out the gate hot. So let me just tell you, I'm not giving you guys anything that you haven't seen. Bratz.
Okay.
They came out of the gate with like little kids dressed like fucking whores.
Yeah.
So fuck them.
And this milk carton idea, like toys that they make, they'll have in kids' toys of different sorts. They'll have like 1-800 numbers. Like if you call them, it's like essentially porn lines for kids. And so, we're facing today some real life dangers that people cannot afford to keep their heads in the sand.
Well, it goes deeper than that too. You've got child protective services.
Yeah.
Yes,
You've got the foster system. They get lost in the system.
No. They get lost in the system for a reason, Walt.
Yes,
they get lost because they're a commodity. And you guys need to fucking understand this. In Islam, they start grooming children at 9 years old.
Right.
As soon as the first female gets her fucking period, she's able to consume. She's able to fucking give birth. Conceive. I'm sorry. She can consume. She can conceive.
She can consume before.
She can't consume beverage. She can't consume alcohol because she's not 18. She's not 21, but she can conceive. I'll say it one more time. She's not able to consume alcoholic beverages at 21, but she can conceive a fucking child. So you guys can all fuck yourselves because you're a bunch of fucking scumbags to do that to any child. And I tell you this, I have enough goddamn vigilantes on my side that we will come fucking find you motherfuckers. You want to fuck my children? You want to fuck my wife? You want to put her in a hijab? You're going to find yourself a new job, motherfucker. It's called death. You're going to be digging. Your new job will be you digging your own grave and me throwing you in there, motherfuckers. All right, I'm sorry. But that's what happens. They do that, and that is part of what they fucking talk about. That's part of the Quran. But the same thing is, it's not. It's part of a new rhetoric, a new part of Quran. It's a new ideology that they're creating. I tell you this, you guys can all call me a scumbag, a right-wing motherfucker. I don't give a fuck what you say about me. I'm saying this. I've read the Quran 3 times. I read the new one a couple of times. I've read the Old Testament, the New Testament. I've read the book of Aramaic. I've read the book of fucking Joe. Yeah, the book of Joe. Fucking look that up.
Is that Joe or
Joe
or Job?
And then you say, put a B at the end of it, dog. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, so hey, listen, come at me all you want. It comes down to this. This is coming to a theater near you. The masks, the mandates, the quarantining, the dumbing down, the lockdowns, the fucking the 6 feet of distance. When does it end? And then all of a sudden, now you've got all these disclaimers on what's women, what's female, what's transgender. They cut people's dicks off over there. If you're homosexual, they cut your cock off and they throw you off of a fucking roof. While they rape your children, while they rape your females and males, they rape men too, and they dress them like little boys. If you look this shit up, please look it up. They dress little boys, 9 years old, like little girls, and they bang their assholes. They have gang bangs, and they fuck it, and they think that's going to bring them to the highest of power. Now, I don't care about you low-level Islamic people who say, okay, well, Islam isn't all about that. But you know what? They did a fucking test that said when they asked just random people in Islamic fucking territories, which are now called no-go zones. You can't even go in there. They asked them, are you for or are you against
Sharia law?
Half of them, Sharia law. They wouldn't even ask. They wouldn't answer. And they said, well, are you for or are you against the caliphate? Are you for or are you against fighting against the infidels? 90% called war against infidels. And if you know what an infidel is, you know what an infidel is, right?
Anyone who doesn't follow the caliphate,
yes.
essentially.
So yes.
It's supposed to be a religion of peace.
Yes. So now we've got 90. Well, now in America, it's like 60%, 70%. But when they went to Europe, when they were going through Germany, France and Britain, all those no-go zones that are now, when they went and asked them, it was 90%.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking to take over fucking Europe, dude. They're going to take up Europe
Well,
all the way up.
but it's
Yeah.
further than that, because
Yeah.
if you understand the objective, it's to have a one world government, a one world order.
Yes.
So, but not
And
to
this fits in there?
absolutely not to overemphasize their influence, but it is important, I think, to draw the through lines, the threads that they are part of it, and that's why they align with the globalists that have the one world government agenda.
True.
Because
Keep going. You got 2 minutes.
yeah, because they have the similar or same kind of purposes in mind. They want a one world tyranny over humanity, essentially, because it serves their objectives and their purposes based on their culture, their ideologies, their philosophies, etc., which are very antithetical
Really?
to
Yeah, I know, I
American
know.
values.
Yeah. It's against everything we stand for, because we stand for freedom of choice, freedom of religion, freedom to bear arms. I mean, look at all your fucking your rights.
Right.
They're taking away female rights now by putting in these motherfucking transgender people into race people in the fight. So even a transgender now can go fight a female person, and there's going to be an even keel. Come on now.
And I don't want to take us completely off the subject because the word trans.
We'll have
Yeah.
you come back.
Yeah.
The word trans has to do with the transhuman agenda, which is to morph us into something other than being humans, and that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
That's a whole other ball of wax.
We've been talking about that for to have a non-human. So then, what happens to the human race? Well, the thing is if you divulge all fucking race, gender, and equality, and human existence, then what happens after that?
Basically, anything can go.
Wow. I don't know about that one, buddy.
Well, you know what? Anything can go, and that's where we're headed. And what my argument is, and we got right out of time, is if you look at a birth certificate, a death certificate, or even a passport, there's really only 2 choices in terms of your gender. Still.
Or if you look at chromosomes.
Well, yeah. I mean, heck, we can boil it down to chromosomes. That's true.
No, is that going to change, you think? Do you think they're going to say, well, this person's transgender, so even if they have a cock, they're going to be called a female? No way. Get the fuck out of my fucking garage.
Well,
would you?
It goes with that. It goes with that, and we got to close. It goes beyond that, because right now in terms of California specifically in gender, there's a bazillion of them. You can marry your dog, you can marry your robot, you can marry your android, which is really what they're going
Didn't someone
toward.
she just married a fucking
You can marry your motorcycle.
She married a tree or something.
Yeah,
or a
could be.
plant.
We need to have a follow-up discussion about
So,
identity.
we're gonna have to.
We're gonna have you in again
conversation.
probably in like 2 weeks. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do a double up because we
we'll
can't
do
finish
another
it today.
Absolutely.
But we'll have you in double, and then we'll bring in my other guest at the end of the month.
So, folks,
So, yeah.
we are.
I knew it was gonna go
out
like
of
this.
time,
We
and
should have
we
had
were
at least
long.
fucking 4 hours
Yeah,
in this
we
fucker.
could. You have been.
God
listening
damn you,
to-
Tony.
Can't hold it much longer, Captain. Need more power.
Jesus, you're killing me, Larry. You're killing me.
You've been tuned into American Badass Bars, Brews, and Brawls, and you can catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Amazon Podcasts,
And YouTube, and AmericanBadassOfficial.com, and then we've got.
please like, share, and subscribe.
And
at
Dorothea,
American Badass
where can we find you?
on
Where can we
YouTube.
find
And
you,
where can we
Dorothea?
find you, Dorothea?
Instagram, Dorothea Geist, DOROTHEAGEIST. On Facebook as well, with just the J middle initial in between.
And then you got like Ask Cap. Your music is on Spotify, or is it on?
Yep,
yeah.
I'm on iTunes. I'm on Apple. I'm on. Well, I guess that's the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
Pandora, all
on
that-
Spotify.
all that stuff. Yeah.
I'm on
Yeah,
Amazon.
Under Thea.
Yeah. So my album is called Beautiful Warrior. It's an EP. It has 3 tracks, and you can find that. I would just suggest go to Apple Music or Amazon. Those are the 2 easiest places, and just do the Google search.
Do you have any shows coming up in the near future?
Well, considering our emperor.
Our environment.
Emperor nuisance is what somebody who
Feel
will go
the
under,
anger,
who will go unnamed
Anakin, feel
refer
the
to him
anger.
as. We have not had everything open up in California yet, so that has made it very difficult for all musicians with regards to shows and live events. So not right now, but I will definitely be.
But you're available for like voiceovers, in-house production. You can go in and do,
I mean, I also coach. I coach vocals, songwriting, piano. And I also life coach, and I have a running group in Los Angeles. So if you're local to Los Angeles, we do events weekly, and you're welcome to come out and join us.
And what's the group called?
Running with Scissors, and it's an
Running with
extension
Scissors. Okay. Of a show, yeah.
Yep, a production.
Yeah. I remember that show. Was that Dave Mamet? Or no, that was
Well, the show's called Rockstar for a Day.
Okay.
We had 2 productions. Yeah. And
that was you did Running with Sisters down there on like right there in the district, wasn't it? Down there in the theater district, like right by the Running with Sisters. I remember seeing that a long time ago. That show, and that show.
Well, so the show is Rockstar for a Day.
Yeah.
And Running with Scissors is a part of the
Of the
production because
okay.
it's basically a development program for artists, and it includes a athletic or physical training component.
Interesting. I like that.
So stay tuned until next time, folks. Thanks for watching, listening, sharing, and subscribing. God bless.
Ciao, bellas.